What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Saint Win, and I'm back again. I may be your friend, I may be your foe. I don't know, but all I know is I'm so happy to be back with you all. I have another amazing guest. Her name is Julie, and I want her to go ahead and introduce herself because just hearing a little bit about her story, it's amazing and it's empowering, and I just can't wait for you all to hear what Julie has to say. Go ahead, Julie. Let everybody know who you be.
Oh, hi everyone. Ciao. I'm saying ciao because I'm in the Italian Alps. So we say ciao.
Awesome.
So I'm Julie Elves and I'm known as the Fearless Lioness Specialist because I used to be an abandoned, rejected, invisible, abused, and people pleasing kitten. But
Mm-hmm.
now I have completely revolutionized and transformed myself into a fearless, strong, and confident lioness, as well as I've found my roar again.
Mm.
I even have my own unique definition for the word fear. I'm extremely passionate about my mission, which is to help 1 billion female entrepreneurs, uh,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial kittens, sorry, become fearless, strong, and confident lionesses that they were born as and want to be again so that they can live a life by design and not by default.
Yeah.
So, for the past 13 years, I've helped many women in my city and around the world virtually who suffer from things like impostor syndrome, people pleasing, the many different kinds of fear, to become fearless, strong, and confident lionesses, to find their roar again.
Yeah.
And I can successfully help your female audience members to halve their fears and double their self esteem in only 3 months. And right now, I'm busy promoting my 7 day Law of Attraction Challenge, which is fun and transformative because I'm a powerful manifesting generator. And I've recently manifested a free home, basically, rent and bills free in the
Okay.
gorgeous Italian Alps.
Well, I will want that link because I'm working on my manifestation. Well,
Ah,
well,
okay,
the,
cool.
well, I know that I've been manifesting, feeling like I've been manifesting for like the last, I'll say maybe 2 years. Just really
Ah,
start moving into the directions of that I've always wanted to see myself. So,
yes.
and you talked a lot of, you said you have your own special definition of what is fear. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, yes, I've come up with. Well, let me just tell you what the three main definitions people have heard of.
Right.
There's the negative one, which is um, oh, I forget everything and run. Forget everything and run. Okay.
Okay.
Then there's face everything and rise,
Mm-hmm.
which is the positive one, and then there's the neutral one, which is false evidence appearing real.
I like that.
My one is feel excited and roar.
Feel excited and roar. I like that. And I like that you said that you finding your roar because I felt like I had that. I think a lot of women, especially like during the pandemic and or just in general, like people really lost themselves because
Yes.
they or maybe found themselves because they found that they were forced to have a lot more time to themselves. And so they had to like really do some work and not let fear take hold of them in any capacity of any definition. can you
That's true.
um can you tell me like how was 2020 for you and with your business, and like did you see any different challenges that you didn't face when you first started your business 13 years ago?
I didn't officially start my business 13 years ago. I
Oh, okay.
I actually started it after the lockdown because I had to pivot, like most people had to
Gotcha.
pivot
Hmm.
from bricks and mortar or face to face kind of working. And I had to change careers. This is my sixth career I'm doing now as a transformational coach. I couldn't do because of the lockdown and because of the very, very strict, I'm sure you heard on the news, the very strict martial law and lockdown here. Everything shut down
Yeah.
for quite a while, so I couldn't teach English anymore, which was my bread and butter.
Hmm.
So I went on holiday, to be honest, for 3 months. I think a lot of people did, because we didn't think it was going to last so long, did we? And also,
Did not.
and also it was like, oh wow, I've got so much freedom, no pressure to go to work.
Hmm.
So I took a 3 month holiday.
That sounds liberating.
And then I thought, oh dear, let's start thinking about the future, because we really don't know how long this is going to last. And so the universe, again, manifestation, the universe sent me an email which
Hmm.
allowed me to become NLP certified. And to be honest, it was becoming a coach was something I was toying with the idea. I just didn't have that big drive and big push to move me into that arena. But this email came in and it was like, wow, this is a sign from the universe I cannot ignore. So I went ahead and
Hmm.
did it and got certified. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I was doing in 2020.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. So 2020, the pandemic, like everything else, sent you on that opportunity, or just like you had no choice but to, like you said,
Yeah.
pivot and find something different. And you said
Yes.
this is your sixth career. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Like,
Mhm.
so is this the most? Would you say this is the most rewarding career that you've had?
Yes, it is. It
Hmm.
is. Yes. Yeah. And
Awesome.
it's just really, it's just a stepping stone from what I was doing, which is
Hmm.
teaching formally
Hmm.
the English
Oh yeah.
language. Now I'm teaching and mentoring and guiding, um, but what I'm doing is I'm helping humanity in a bigger capacity, because for me, I believe fear is the number one reason holding us back, and fear comes in so many different shapes and sizes and colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Well, let's go ahead and get into your story. Could you share more about like your personal journey, from
Sure.
becoming, like you said, that abandoned,
Yes.
and just like tell us how you got to this point where you were wanted to get people out of their own way.
Okay, no problem. I'll keep it brief because it's a long story. But basically, back in the 70s in China,
Hmm.
because I'm the best of British and Oriental, and I'll explain why. So in the 1970s in China, they had a one-child policy, and
Hmm.
they had this idea that they only wanted boys, and this has now left their population out of balance, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know the exact reason, but I was rejected and I was abandoned
Mm-hmm.
at about the age of 2, and I was left in
Mm.
a big dumpster at the side of the road. And basically, what many people don't realize is we are actually born lions and lionesses, and
Mm.
it's because of all these different layers. I like to um, use an analogy of an onion. You put layers on, and you have to. These layers are your upbringing from your parents, what they know about parenting, your education, your school education, the society. Okay, and these are all layers added onto you, but you get so many layers and you forget who you really are. So you have to really peel back the layers to find out and get back to your real true self, which is your lion or lioness. So for me, because I hadn't had all these layers piled onto me, I was still a lioness. So I screamed out my lungs to be rescued, which worked,
Mm. Hmm.
you know. And then I was immediately taken to the orphanage, and I was very, very lucky. Somebody was ready and keen to adopt me. So a British couple adopted me,
Hmm.
and I had a fairly, I lived an expat life, and I have to say it wasn't perfect. It was better than what I had come from, but it wasn't a perfect upbringing. I don't think anybody's had a perfect upbringing, to be honest. And it wasn't until, so that's my humble beginnings, but it wasn't until 2006 when my adopted father died and
Mm.
my whole world fell apart and it came crashing down around my ears.
Yeah.
And basically, quite literally, a shit dumpster was parked outside my door for 10 months. And I suffered, so many traumatic incidents, literally back to back. I
Mm.
lost my job. I ended my 5-year relationship with my fiance.
Hmm.
I had a car accident. All these things.
Mm.
happened to me, and they really help. They kind of mentally forced me down a deep, dark downward spiral, and I got stuck in this horrible tunnel, which I thought would never end.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so desperate, and I had suicidal thoughts, and I was doing all of this on my own. I was grieving a lot,
Yeah.
and I was doing it all on my own. My friends seemed to abandon me. My
Mm.
family couldn't understand why I was grieving so much. So they abandoned me, and I was trying everything I could from a practical point of view, getting therapy,
Right.
going to the doctor and seeing what they could do, and comfort food eating, that wasn't good. And it just made me feel worse. And it wasn't until the doctor prescribed very strong antidepressants that really made me lose control, that it suddenly woke me up
Mm.
to realizing the solution is not outside of me. It's got to be inside of me. So I have to dig deep, find the courage to inside of me to learn how I can change my thinking, my mindset, so that I could help myself heal, right? And
Right.
once I'd cracked this and I changed my mindset through two very, very important, what I call life changing self development books. I transformed and revolutionized myself into a lioness, and I climbed myself out of that big dark well and out of the tunnel, and I've been growing and getting stronger ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Like I know we talked offline and I got a chance to read some of your story. And
Yeah.
when you said 2006, I had a time in 2016 because like them sixes, honey, they it changed me. Like I had a lot of grief. I lost my job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you lost your father. I lost my father in 2018.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned about grief is that grief is just more than when we lose someone. When we lose our jobs, we losing that feeling, a sense of identity. And so I really, really like connect with you on that. So
Yes.
with you being a coach, the podcast is called Co-Sides and Tangents for a reason. I may go off on a tangent, or so just and
Okay.
I like to jump around because nothing is
Yeah.
linear. Therefore, my questions are. So I just want to tell you that. So I just want to know, like, how, why do you feel that someone needs a coach? Why do you feel like, because some people are gonna say, well, she did it by herself. Why do I need someone to coach me? Can you answer that question?
Well, yeah. I have sought out coaches for my business, and
Mm-hmm.
I have sought out people who probably should have the title of coach, but they didn't. They chose another title. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, having a coach in your life is like having your best friend in the next room, kind of
Mm-hmm.
checking in on you to make sure that you are following the blueprint or plan, okay, that you've both agreed upon that you'll follow. Um, they are there to support you, to answer any questions that you have. They are there to make you accountable,
Mm-hmm.
and, to encourage you. They're your cheerleader as well. And now I think everybody needs somebody like this in their life, because many of us really are struggling. And when we talk about business and entrepreneurship, it's really a lonely kind of job and career. And
Mm-hmm.
having a coach who's got your back and who's supporting you really helps you to stay focused on your dream of being successful, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so many coaches, not coaches, but so many businesses fail because they don't have the support, the love and support and encouragement behind them.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I think it's really important to have a coach, not least just from the accountability side of things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How would you, because I feel like we use certain words like accountability and kind of buzzy.
Yes.
Like like sometimes people always, I felt like people like, I need to give myself grace, but they don't actually give themselves grace. They say those words. But what is your definition of accountability?
Okay, good question. Accountability for me is well, let me just explain. I suffer from ADHD. I'm restless. Okay,
Me
and
too.
yeah,
Sorry.
and I think most of women do now. We're all
Yeah.
coming out of the shadows. Um,
All
but
over.
it's difficult for me to stay focused on something, and I take breaks, but then I get distracted very very easily. And if I'm not focused um, on my plan and following through on my plan, I will procrastinate
Oh,
because it's part of the amygdala. Doesn't want to. It's protecting itself. The amygdala part of your brain is trying to protect you from harm and overload and overwhelm, right? And you
right.
hear so many stories of burnout. So, as an ADHD person, um, my brain is telling me not to do too much, or I'll become burnt out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yep.
if I have an accountability person who's a coach, um, they can check in with me. How are you doing today? You were supposed to be doing that, um, the task relating to such and such. Have you done it? How are you getting on? And if I'm watching a movie, let's say, because I've been distracted, I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to go and do that. Right, thanks for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the calendar event pops up, ding ding ding, and you're like, it's just a calendar, no biggie. If I ignore it, right?
right.
Yeah, but if it's somebody on the other end, you feel obligated. There's a kind of obligation that you feel, and you feel a little bit guilty if you don't do it because you promised this person, and also you've paid money for this person to really kick you up the bum when you need it. Yeah,
That's true. Because that's one thing. Money is like the
yeah,
thing that keeps people like, well, if I spend money on it, I might as well go ahead and do it.
exactly, exactly. Yes,
hmm
and people who pay attention, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm, I get that. Okay. Well, so your business is called Unleash Your Lioness, right?
Yeah.
And so as a founder, so your what is your mission?
Hmm.
Well, I know you said your mission was to help 1 billion women. So
Yeah.
can you tell us some of the ways that you utilize your training or your coaching to help women get to those points? And I think, and you said like within 3 months and stuff like that. So how
Yeah, yeah. So in three
what are some
months,
of the
I have
steps?
I have a roadmap that
Mm-hmm.
consists of 3 phases, and in those 3 phases, there are 4 modules, and these are tried and tested methods and methodologies and techniques and tricks that I've actually used to great effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's what's great about a coach. A coach like me, the transformation coach, has done all the hard work for you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
finding the tools that actually work on your brain and help you to change your fixed mindset to growth mindset, right?
Right.
So I use various different modalities
Mm-hmm.
that work, that target things like your fear, getting to grips with knowing your fear fiend, understanding about self-esteem and how you see yourself. I mean, most people, especially women, are not able to see themselves naked in the mirror. It took me a while to be comfortable in my own skin.
Same.
Okay, yeah. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so when you use the techniques that I teach, you will be able to stand in front of the mirror naked and look at yourself and appreciate that you are in a body that you have to accept. If you don't accept it, then change it. Yeah, you have
Right.
the power to change your body shape, and yeah, not this body type, but you can change the shape, right?
Mm-hmm. Your strength, your ability to do certain things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I cover self-esteem, fear and self-esteem mainly, but I throw in there some law of attraction stuff because I really think that's important. People are desperately are focused these days on their dream life, their dream career or business, and so I help them in the early phases, how to narrow down and clarify what is it their dream consists of and how do they visualize it. And then I help them to get into that mental and spiritual zone so that they can manifest like a mofo, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of law of attraction in there. There's also I'm a pranic energy healer, so there's some of that in there because we have so many blockages, right? If it's not limiting beliefs, it's negative energy. If it's not negative energy, it's something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's I feel it's my responsibility as a coach to remove as much negative things from your brain and from your body. And so pranic energy healing, which I've had a lot of success with, is great for clearing the blockages, the energy blockages inside of you. And
Mm-hmm.
we all want to be in flow, right? Everybody's talking about flow now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Zen, flow,
exactly.
you
So
know.
that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
What's
I have sorry, then I have something, this is really cool. Then I
mm-hmm.
have something that's really, really interactive and fun.
Ooh.
And my clients really love this. I get people to create a playlist, and in this playlist, they have access to motivational songs with really powerful words and lyrics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they also have exercises where they have to record their voice doing the homework, and then that gets added to their playlist. So by the end of the
Ooh.
3 months, they've got a really powerful motivational playlist that they can listen to. And what's really important is if you can record your voice, you're training your brain, your subconscious mind, to hear you speaking really positive words. And so you change your vocabulary from negative to positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. I never thought about that as a way of
Yeah, it's a great technique.
yeah, training your brain. Because like I have a podcast, but I don't listen to myself all the time. I listen.
Obviously.
I listen when I'm editing, but I don't just go back and be like, "Yeah, that was some good words." I need to.
All right.
Well, can we kind of going back into just what when you first talked? I was just wanted to well, I wanted to ask some questions just like what is for our audience who don't know, like can you tell us like what is imposter syndrome? Because I feel like we all suffer from it, but I just want to make sure we all know what the definition is. Because
Okay. So, in layman's terms, imposter syndrome is when you feel like you are an imposter, i.e., you are not worthy of being a coach, of having the title of a coach, of
Mhm,
you feel like you don't have the expertise, you haven't had the years' experience. I certainly felt like this when I was transitioning. I took a I took a baby step out of the 9 to 5 world and went into becoming a contractor. That's not quite fully entrepreneurial, but
mhm,
it's a middle ground. And I was really scared. And I thought, because society dictated that as a contractor in the engineering field, which is where I used to work, you had to be over 60 and you had to have worked in engineering for no less than 30 years. And I only had like 8 years experience under my belt. And I thought, is that enough experience? And
mhm,
I was really down on myself, thinking, no, no, you're not good enough to be a contractor. Who's going to hire you as a contractor?
mm,
You're too new. You've got zero experience. But what I had done in my career was I was changing jobs so often, and so by changing jobs so often, I got that. Um, I managed to pick up so many tools very quickly, and the training I got on the job training was amazing. So I had all the school, the experience and the skills, and as long as I've got the experience and the skills, it doesn't matter how long I've been working. Really, I
mhm.
was able to help big blue chip companies with the skills that I'd attained. Yeah,
Yeah.
and experience, and in the 9 to 5 job anyway, they do give you hands-on experience. You never you never have the experience of a previous company that you can just hit the ground running with another company, because they have their own procedures and standards that you have to follow when they're working practices, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's what imposter syndrome means. It's basically you saying I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
and basically talking yourself out of a great opportunity.
Man. And I
Yeah.
and I feel like I think we all can relate, especially I know with myself. I felt like that when I was coming into podcasts. I was like, I don't have,
Yes.
following and da da
Yeah.
da da da. But like you said, you get so many skills,
Yeah.
just one in your daily life and your jobs that you take, that you just kind of have to like work through that. So
Yes.
so
Exactly.
with that being said, like you mentioned, like you help people with that, with the imposter syndrome, anxiety,
Hmm.
people pleasing, which is a big one because sis, I am a people pleaser all the day and I'm working on that. But
Yeah.
like, what are some of the ways that you help people in, as a coach, to address some of those challenges with them?
Okay. Well, the two biggies at the moment seem to be anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
So for anxiety, I would use something called the positive intelligence method, which has been heavily researched and scientifically proven to work.
Hmm.
And there's a particular method, part of the method, um, called tactile. And basically, it involves you. So you're feeling anxious, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you feel like maybe a panic attack is coming on, or you feel you're getting heart palpitations. So what you need to do is just close your eyes and try to get back into your body, because the anxiety is triggered by your ego mind and your subconscious mind, probably worrying about the future or probably worrying about the past, but you're not present in your body.
Mm. Right.
So the trick is to get in back into your body so you can calm yourself down and get your nervous system in a calm state. So by closing your eyes, what you do, and you can do this now, is you put your hands together, okay, like you're praying, and you
Mm-hmm.
just gently rub your hands together, one, one, one. They slide over each other, yeah, up
Mm-hmm.
and down, and then what you should do as well is tickle your wrist so you can feel just lightly enough so you can feel it tickling,
Mm.
okay,
Okay.
on each side.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's if you just concentrate on that tactile feeling, it brings you back into your body, and these thoughts of worry and anxiety start to fade away. And when you feel relaxed and you're back in your body and your thoughts of your mind has stopped racing, that's when you can open your eyes, and then you can then make a calm decision as to what you're going to do about the anxiety that you've just felt because of
Mm-hmm.
the situation that you're in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like when you see people clap their hands and they be like, they rub them together and like, let's go. In movies, you be like, they clap and they be like,
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah. So
But
I
this
guess
is,
that's
no, but when they do that, though, no, the thing is, when they do that, they're not really fully conscious that they're doing it. It's just an
right.
automatic thing. What I'm making you do is to slow down the action, so it's very deliberate. You're
Right.
very aware that you're doing it. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's one thing I think I've learned, that our bodies is kind of on like automatic pilot. And
Yes.
like even with our breathing, and
Yes.
I just did some research into breathing, because like
Mm-hmm.
my cousin,
Yep.
she's whenever I used to have panic attacks, I'll call her and she'll help me with my breathing. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized, and they were talking about how you got to breathe from your diaphragm. And I was like, we
Yes.
really don't breathe intentionally. Like we're just kind of like going through like the automatic pilot of life. So everything is about intentionality, and
Yes.
like, so that clapping, doing the rubbing your palms together and doing it, you bringing yourself intentionally back into the present. Because I
Yes.
know I float all over the world and don't be living in the present all the
Okay.
time.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so the second area to tackle is depression. I've helped a lady who had bipolar,
Mm.
and she was one. I mean, she switched between being happy and being depressed in the matter of hours.
Oh
Okay,
man,
same
that's
day.
crazy.
So a great method for her to use, and I recommend for everybody, is to use post-it notes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming your audience know what post-it notes are. They're great.
I hope so.
So okay, so what you do is you write out blessings,
Mm-hmm.
really, really good things that you are grateful for, and positive affirmations. Now, a positive affirmation is something about you. In this case, you would write it about yourself. So you would say something like, I am strong, I am confident, I am fearless, I am beautiful, these kinds of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you stick them all over your house, especially in the places where you spend a lot of time, like in front of the mirror, stick a couple on the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by your
Yeah.
computer, stick. I had a whole ton of them around my monitor. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta keep that constant reminder. Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. And what these affirmations and blessings do is they lift your mood and they raise your vibration. And once your vibration is raised, you come out of the depression spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you're in depression, you're in a very low vibrational frequency, just like in that with anxiety too. But with depression, you need a way of seeing your life in a different perspective. That's why it's good to focus on blessings and the good things about yourself that you can write down and you can visually see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can even go one further, and this is why I do my playlist. Is you can record yourself saying, "I am grateful and thankful for these wonderful things in my life," and verbally record your voice saying all the positive affirmations and then just keep playing it back to you during the day on repeat. Your subconscious mind will pick it up, even if it's just playing in the background, right?
Mm-hmm. It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like on TikTok and Facebook, they had this like, you be careful what you listen to because you manifest it. And I agree. Like, but then like I never thought about, why don't you just listen to yourself speaking good to yourself?
Yeah.
It's,
Yes.
yeah,
Exactly. And
that's so
we are our own worst enemy and critic. So
important.
isn't it nice for us to hear ourselves saying nice things about us and giving us kudos?
Yeah, just like,
Yeah.
because and it's such a it seems so simple, but like I like you when you said that, I never thought about like recording myself and just putting it on a replay.
Yeah.
So what do you what so with that, with helping with those techniques, like what are some of the obstacles and like you faced when you started your business, and then also what are some of the obstacles you see like as a trend that women typically have when they're trying to reclaim their lioness?
Okay. So you're referring to my entrepreneurial journey into coaching, right?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the first part of the question. Okay.
Correct.
So
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it was giving too much of myself to others, and this I think is common for many women. It's inherent in women because we have this maternal instinct to put others before us before we think about ourselves, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we forget to allocate time for ourselves to practice self love and self care, right? Is that
Mm-hmm.
true for you?
Yeah, oh, that's definitely true. Cause I
Yes,
know, cause I like when you talking about the people pleasing, that's what it goes in for me
yes,
when I
yes,
hear you say that. Cause like
yes.
my issue is like I'm been working on it. Is like I enjoy people pleasing. I enjoy the pleasure people get out of that I can provide them, but I also have to remember that I am people too, and I deserve to have the pleasure as well.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
But more importantly, if you look at it from an energetic point of view, you cannot give energy, whether that's love or advice or service or whatever it is, that it's a form of energy, right? And you cannot give energy if you don't have any energy to give. So you need to recharge and refill your cup,
Mhm.
okay? And like your phone needs to recharge when the battery's dying, right? Why
Right.
why don't you do the same thing to yourself for ourselves, yeah?
Mhm.
And so, if we have a charged battery, we can give all day long. But if it's a flat, dead battery, that's when we're on the and we're still trying to give. It's going to cause a nervous breakdown or a burnout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So so I teach my aspiring lionesses to prioritize their needs so that they can refill their cup often. And I also teach them how to set healthy boundaries and to stick to the healthy boundaries that
Mm-hmm.
they, yeah.
Look, can we talk about boundaries? Because I heard somebody talk about how like there's boundaries for yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
then there's also a difference, like a rule, because like you put a boundary for yourself to protect yourself, but then there's also rules that you need to have for other people when they interact with you. Does it make sense? Is that making sense?
Yeah, yeah, because you have core values. Yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about like some of like the ways that a person needs should try to set their boundaries for themselves. Because I know I get so proud of myself when I set my own boundaries and I stick to them. So like, but can you talk a bit about how someone can just like start off setting those boundaries for themselves?
Oh, well, I would highly recommend that they sat down and wrote down a list of things that they feel um, they are core values, things like truth, freedom, honesty, justice, community, relationships, friendship, love. There's a ton of them, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
make a list of what is so important for you that you are trying to protect. Okay, respect is usually quite high on the list. Yeah,
Hmm.
and so if somebody, for me, because I'm British, I I don't tolerate students who don't use please and thank you, and who don't have the courtesy to cancel, give me enough notice to cancel a lesson. Okay,
Hmm.
this goes against my core values because my core values came from my parents. You must good manners don't cost any money whatsoever. So everybody on the planet, if they've got the right had the right parenting, should have good manners. This is what I
Hmm.
was taught, and I've loosened my my grip on that as I've gotten older. But still, I think I deserve respect from people because when I use the please and the thank you and I'm courteous, I'm showing them love and respect as a human being. I respect you as a human being. I'm not going to treat you like a stray animal on the road and kick you around and
Hmm.
spoil you because this is very disrespectful, right? So I
Right.
set boundaries, and if this student is disrespectful to me, then I say I'm sorry, but we are not a good match, and I think we need to finish finish the lessons.
Mm.
We're not a good match. Yes, I've done this a couple of times. I have to say.
I was gonna ask. I was like, have you had to do that pretty
Yes.
often? And how do people respond when you like set that boundary? And they're like, do they often get mad or do they accept it? Like, do or
They're mostly they're shocked because a lot of people don't expect you to cut your nose off to spite your face.
mm,
But and I have to say I was. However, I shouldn't have to tolerate somebody being disrespectful to me when it's such an important core value for me.
hmm. And I think people get messed up with that because they're like, well, I pay for you. You should do whatever. Well, I was like, yeah,
Yes,
but
I'm not a slave. I'm not a robot.
exactly. Yeah, I think that meant that entitlement mentality gets really stuck for
Yes,
people.
yes, yes. You
Hmm.
are right. You hit the nail on the head. People think, well, I've paid you, so therefore I kind of own you. You do what I tell you to do. No, no,
Hmm.
you pay me for my expertise and my time, and and for that you should be respectful. You should treat me in a respectful manner. I'm a professional. I'm an expert.
Hmm.
I have something that you want. Yeah.
Something you really need too.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about like the successes because I like the positive. Can you give
Okay.
us some just like some? Do you have like a favorite? No names, of course, but like, do you have a favorite person that you coached and just seeing their success that you were able to help
Oh,
elicit with them?
you mean like a role model?
Well, no, like somebody so far that you've been coaching since you've been in your coaching since 2020.
Oh,
Do you have like a favorite like person, not favorite, because I don't want your people to know that you have favorites, or like a good, like a time where it was just like warmed your heart that you were able to provide this person with the ability to get their roar back.
Oh yeah, definitely. I get lots of lovely messages from my aspiring lionesses, private messages telling me, Julie, you have changed my life. I might not have done it directly, but behind the scenes, it's obviously making a difference to them, and they want to show their appreciation. So they send me messages, and they
Mm-hmm.
say, "Really, what you are doing is phenomenal. Keep up the good work." Because sometimes, as an entrepreneur, you don't get feedback, and you're like, "Am I doing it right?" And then the imposter syndrome kicks in.
Man, that's the hardest thing to get like people to review and to rate.
Yeah,
So while
exactly.
you're listening, make sure you review and relate people. But anyway,
Absolutely. But
yeah.
at the moment, I have a lovely lady, and this is a wonderful story. I found her in a Tony Robbins group, so I knew that she was looking to be a better version of herself, right? And
Mhm.
I had this feeling that she was suffering with a lot of fear and low self-esteem. And so we got chatting, and she was following me, and she liked what I was posting. She saw how vulnerable I was in the pride. Something really bad happened to me last year, and I kind of I announced in the pride that I was going to quit coaching,
Mm.
but I decided no,
Mhm.
no, I am not a quitter. I'm a lioness.
Yes. Mhm.
So I'll take a time out, and then I'll get back into it. And because I did that, I earned a lot of respect from people in the pride, my Unleash Your Lioness pride. And she was following me, and we have. She finally signed up to do the course, this 12-week course, and um, it has been really transformational. She hasn't completed it all because life gets busy,
So
but
busy.
the phases that she's completed so far, two phases, have been really, really instrumental. She's done the pranic healing, she's done the inner child trauma stuff. That was really phenomenal work that I did for her. And we have now become best friends. And I never thought going on this journey I would find a best friend. So that is really quite a story.
That's nice. And the one thing I'm finding myself just in general, my because I'm single and but I
Mhm.
find that my friendships are
Mhm.
growing to be more important,
Yes,
and
good.
the intimacy that I get from those are just like paramount for me.
Yes.
Um, can you is there like with your new friendship, is that something you've just learned? Was that like a surprise for you to learn getting that friendship out of your coaching? Or is that, do you find that people, I'm sorry, I'm trying to phrase my question properly.
All right.
um but like I'm trying to say is, do you look into people and their friendships as something when they're going through this coaching, as something that they maybe need to, work with, getting
Yes.
better friendships?
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
Okay. So the reason why I set up my pride is so that I can help bring like-minded people together, and people who have kind of have the same um, energy vibe. And I feel like a lioness, a mother lioness, and they're my cubs, and I want to protect them, and I want to help them, nurture them to
Hmm.
raise their vibrations and be better versions of themselves. So I think, because I'm a transformational coach and not a business coach, I
Mm.
feel like it's really important to have that connection with my aspiring lionesses. And I have made a lot of friends myself,
Hmm.
and I've gone out specifically to find wonderful lionesses who can bring value and showcase their work and how they can help my aspiring lionesses on their lioness journey. And this for me is a wonderful thing, giving back to humanity. And so I do treat each and every one of them like a friend, but they're at different levels. And for me, it's all about showing unconditional love and helping raise the vibration of the planet.
Hmm. And when you say vibrations, I hear that a lot because but I'm getting into my
Okay.
spirituality bag. Can you,
Right.
when you say like raising your vibrations,
Yes.
what do you mean by that?
Right. Okay. So if you think of this is great. Nikola Tesla says, if you really want to understand how the universe works, you need to think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency, and that's how you get a solid object. That's how you get a solid object that's black or blue or green.
Oh, okay.
Colors vibrate at different frequencies. Okay.
Oh, did not know that. Okay.
And yeah, because it's the molecules, vibrating.
Oh
And
yeah, duh.
when
Okay.
you so this will really bring it home for you. When you feel anxious and when you feel depressed and sad, do you feel a heaviness in your body?
Yes.
You feel like you've got the world's problems on your shoulders and your shoulders go down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because the molecules are vibrating slowly. And
Okay.
when molecules vibrate slowly, they suddenly take on a lot of mass and weight. Okay, so that's low vibration. When you're
Mhm.
in a high vibrational state, the when you're in happiness and joy, okay, and excitement, your atoms, molecules are vibrating so fast, and
Mm.
that agitation causes you to be lighter, to feel lighter in your body, like you can skip and jump and run. Yeah,
Right.
you can't skip, jump, and run when you're depressed and sad, can you?
Oh, sure do not. I skip and well, I may skip and jump into the bed and don't get up. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Right. So
That'd
that's
be.
that's the best way to explain it.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that. Thank you for explaining that because I think that this we hear it's just because we all live on TikTok and especially during the pandemic, just like hearing these tidbits of information, but not really understanding where these informations, the origins of them.
Okay.
So like when you said vibration, I'm like just explain that. So can you, since we're kind of in the explaining phase,
Mm-hmm.
with the law of attraction, I just want to go back up. Like
Yeah.
you talk about like creating your life by design and
Yeah.
not by default into your coaching, which
Yes.
I love. So
Yes.
can you talk about what does that mean for you and how do you guide women into reclaiming that control of their lives?
Okay. So there are 12 common, I have to use the word common, universal laws of the
Okay.
universe, which the universe adheres to, which we're just not aware of. Okay.
Mhm.
But because the movie The Secret, yeah, the book
Yeah.
has publicized the law of attraction, everybody seems to be knows about the law of attraction.
Right. Yeah.
The law of attraction doesn't work on its own. You can't just have a dream pop into your head and sit on the couch and watch Netflix. It doesn't work like that. Okay? You've got
Sorry, guys.
to, sorry.
I was just joking. I was like, sorry, y'all. She's telling y'all you can't.
You've got to put a little bit of effort in, and you are rewarded for the effort that you put in, right?
Hmm.
So, by using the law of attraction and the law of action, these two important universal laws work together. You can design, in quotation marks, the dream life that you really want. And that means you can have everything you've ever dreamt of and more. And I teach people in my law of attraction challenge these two powerful laws, as well as other techniques which raise their vibrations so
Hmm.
they can manifest more powerfully. Now, if you've got low vibrations, you're feeling anxious, sad, and depressed, you manifest zero, nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
But when you're feeling
One
happy
more.
and joyful and grateful and positive and optimistic, you can manifest anything you want. But you've also got to start taking the steps, the action plan, in order to move you along your journey. Okay?
Hmm.
and set the intention that, yes, I've got this vision that I want, and I've raised my vibrations, and now I'm going to start moving towards my dream. And this is my action plan, and this is step 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to start. And once you've set that intention and you've proven to the universe that you definitely want this dream life, things start coming into play. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Right.
and you get signs and all sorts of other weird and wonderful things happen,
Do,
Yeah.
yeah. Can I ask? Sorry, just not to cut you off, but do you believe in angel numbers and stuff?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I set my alarm for 11:11.
Ah.
That's in the morning and that's in the evening, because this is the code of activation time, 11:11.
Ah. Code of
And
activation.
so I have very powerful affirmations that I read, out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, these angel numbers are really important. Yes, yeah,
So is that like how you maintain? Because like I feel like the hardest thing for me, just when I was just in life in general, is just keeping that consistency. So is that like you coach yourself out of your, as you said in your notations, the shit dumpster?
yeah.
um. So do you have a coach, or do you just keep using the things that you've gleaned to keep you accountable for your own happiness? Or
I've had a couple of coaches. I've just starting with a new coach.
oh, cool.
Yeah, but what you got to remember is when you start to vibrate at a higher level, and this might be really a shock to some people, some listeners out there. Some people who you think are in your inner circle and they're there to stay will suddenly fall away for some whatever reason it is. They suddenly your relationship
Mm,
is with them, and the main reason for that is because you are both no longer on the same vibrational frequency anymore.
mm-hmm.
So the higher you raise your vibration, the more this is going to happen. And when it happened to me, I was so depressed and sad, and I'm thinking, am I such a bad person? All these people are leaving my life, and I
Mm,
thought they were going to be with me forever. And
right.
and now I realize you need to make room in your life. We're not limitless people, and um, I don't know what the magic number is, but let's say it's 10 close friends. If those close friends are vibrating at a lower frequency and you're raising your vibration, well, one or two of them are going to fall
Mm-hmm.
away, to make space for people who are at your new frequency
Yeah.
and help you move along your journey through life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah. I appreciate your perspective on that, because I know as I've been going through just this change, because they say like you change every 7 years.
Oh, yes,
I
cycle.
I yeah, like and I had to work through that grief too of losing
Yes,
friendships that I held so close.
yes,
Um, do you find that that's like one of the hardest things for women to kind of let go
yeah.
is those
Yes,
friendships? Hmm.
because women in particular, and I have to say, I've been reincarnated as men many, many times. I have a lot of male energy, but
Okay.
in this reincarnation, I'm female.
Hmm.
I know that it's inherent in me to hang on to relationships and try and um, create a very strong bond. So
Hmm.
it's a lot more difficult for me to break the bonds. And when they break, it really affects me a lot. But with men, I think it's less. They put up barriers to protect themselves. They're
Yeah.
not emotional beings like we are, right?
Hmm. And I feel like that's more like a societal thing too, because like we all have the same emotions, but with men, they're been taught to like, you know what, just don't cry, don't show no weakness.
Yeah.
But with women, I feel like we're like, yeah, you can cry, go ahead, do that. Do you feel like that's like something that stands in the way of like
Yes.
women and men just kind of communicating sometimes?
Yes. I mean, growing up, I think my father saw me as the boy, the little boy he never had. So he kind of treated me like a boy,
Ah, okay.
and I was kind of fitting into that persona.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up being a tomboy, you
Yeah.
know. playing with boys' toys because they were a lot more fun than girls' toys. But also I was taught, you don't cry. Crying is a weakness. You don't cry.
Oh, okay.
And so it's taken me a while. When I'm crying, I hear my father's voice in my head going, "No, you don't cry. You're not allowed to cry. It's a weakness." It's taken me a while to get over that, to
Yeah.
allow these emotions to come through and to just feel them and sit with them and let them flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, like, now that you're more do you feel like you can access your emotions a little bit easier now that you have been on this healing journey, and that you do like find yourself crying or being just more emotive?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But
Yeah.
also, what you may or may not know, there are very powerful cosmic energies being projected onto the planet, which is helping us evolve as humanity and spiritual beings, because we're basically spiritual beings inside a human being body, having a human being experience, right?
Right. Hmm.
And so these very powerful cosmic energies are affecting the soul, and people are waking up to the truth on what's going on in the planet, and waking up to their emotions, waking up to their masculine or feminine energy. People are realizing they need to heal themselves from all the trauma they've experienced.
Hmm.
Big
And that
shift.
our yeah, and that our ancestors experienced too. Like,
Exactly.
it's so
Yes.
deep ingrained. And
Yes.
it's interesting you said that, because I remember I did talk to this astrophysicist, and he's like, our bodies are made up of the same thing that the universe is. And I
Yes.
was like, I
Mm.
said, so it makes sense why like people really fall into like the astrology, because I'm like,
Oh
we are
yes.
that. Like, I was like, so it makes so much sense. Sorry, I just,
Yes.
when you said that, I was like, man, that's so cool. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I know we're getting close to our 60 minutes, and this has been great. Like, I've gotten so much out of this just hearing
Okay.
you talk about that. So I thank you.
Great.
But
You're
but
welcome.
so I want to get towards the last thing. I just want to ask you to just, if you don't mind, give us some advice or words of encouragement you would give to a woman who is like struggling with that fear, the self-esteem
Mm.
issues. And
Yes.
what would you say to just our listeners, to my listeners as well, like just getting out their way?
Yeah. Okay. Great. I've got three pieces of advice, gold nuggets, I call them. Okay. The first one, being the most important, is to be aware. Awareness is everything now. To be aware that you need to change to live a happier, more magical life.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you've made that awareness, then you can do something about it. But if you're ignorant to what's going on, there's
Mm-hmm.
you've got no impetus, no motivation to do anything about it, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing I would say would be to look at your, I call it the dreaded comfort zone. Okay, and so
Oh,
as
that comfort zone be so comfortable, honey.
yeah, and so many people just will not allow themselves to step out of it. And I really have to impart this really huge, big gold nugget on your audience, and that is the magic happens outside the comfort zone.
Mm,
If you want magical miracles and magical, massive magical manifestations, I'm writing a book about that, then you need to step outside your comfort zone. Think of it this way: there's a tree, a really big, solid oak tree, and the trunk is the strongest part of the tree, right? So you're gripping hold of the trunk for dear life, but the trunk is not where the fruit and the flowers are, is it?
uh-uh.
No, they're on the edge of the branches at the end. So you have to climb up that tree, walk along those branches, and to get to the wonderful fruit and flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's inch by inch. You need to crawl up that tree, baby step after baby step. You need to expand your comfort zone, and by doing that, you will face your fears.
Yeah.
Okay, little by little, you will start to become more and more fearless. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the final gold nugget I would say is to just hire a great transformational mindset coach who will transform your mindset. If you feel like you can't do it yourself, then hire somebody who's gone on that journey so that you get the shortcut. Yeah.
Hmm. Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think we know one. I think her name is Julie. Um, and also, well, I'm sorry, one last question. Do you
Okay.
have any, like, anyone who is still just ready? Because you mentioned some books that you read, who's not
Oh, yeah.
yet ready to get their own coach, but they're just needing just something. Is there any books or some literature or that you would recommend for anyone that's just wanted to like
Yes.
start?
No, the three huge life changing self development books that have really helped me was the most famous one out there is Chicken Soup for the Soul by Jack Canfield.
I used to love those books so much.
Yeah, that is
Mhm.
one you can just dive into that book any time, and it'll just raise your vibrations and make you feel so much better. And
Yeah, I love the kids ones.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
the other book which really helped me is Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I know many
Mm,
people have read this book, but the practical exercises in that book are life saving,
okay.
really. And the third book is Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog.
Eat that frog. Okay.
And that's a book about prioritizing your life so that you do the ugly stuff and the boring stuff first, and
Hmm.
you finish the day on a high note.
I like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
great analogy. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. Well, Julie, thank you so much for your flexibility. I know we had to reschedule this a couple times because life was life and real hard on my end. Uh,
that's okay. No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for the invitation. I really
of
appreciate it.
Of course. And anytime I would love to have you back on. Maybe we can do another one, just check in. Because my
Oh,
goal is to eventually have like maybe like a panel discussion with some other
okay.
like minded women. And definitely
Yes.
we can tag team together because I want you to get to your 1 billion women. Because
Oh, thank you.
think, yes,
Well,
man.
I am doing it through a ripple effect, not
Yes.
directly, but through a
Yeah.
ripple effect, right?
Of course, because like the one person can be just that one pebble in that river just to get
Exactly.
everyone. So I'm
Exactly.
hoping this helps people. And oh, Julie, please let everyone know how they can reach you if they want to schedule. Are you doing like a consultation and what they can do to start becoming a fearless lioness?
Well, I will share with you my link tree.
Okay,
Yeah, and I
I
will
got
also,
that.
if anybody's interested in doing this fun and transformational law of attraction challenge, I'm running it for the 12th time, and it's worth $679, but I'm only charging $22.22, 222,
Ooh, I love twos.
222. Okay.
Okay,
Um, but yeah, I've run it successfully now 11 times, and I'm doing it for the 12th time. And
okay.
seriously, you'll have so much fun, really.
Okay. Well, yeah, if there's a link to that, you can
Yes.
definitely send that and I will put it in the description because I think I want to do that because I've been wanting to like there's so many things that I want to do
Okay.
and I've been on the progress of working through it and I was like I really just need to just stop being so scared. So I
Yes.
will so if anybody want to do it with me, we'll link it together. You hit me up in the message. I'll make it
Cool.
I'll put it in my Facebook group too and
Oh,
see if we could get some people to do it with us. If not, I can do it by myself. I got other people.
you won't be
But
alone. You won't be alone.
well, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Julie. And as always, everyone, I love you and bye bye.
Ciao for now.
Ciao.